It doesn't matter if you're the driver or the passenger, sitting in the back of your mum's car, leaning your cheek against the glass, watching the bright red and yellow McDonald's sign fade in and out of your line of sight, right after she told you that McDonald's is unhealthy and that you should shut up for once. If you can speak and read English fluently, chances are you've seen an absolutely clapped out large sedan just weave in and out of traffic, engine screaming its head off when it's only going a little bit above the speed limit, as a Mexican wave of car horns and middle fingers up in the air follow it as everybody does not cheer them on. You've all seen that car on the road, right? 2 completely bald tyres, 1 missing door, 0 working tail lights. This particular make and model of car is in a pretty much deadlock competition with BMWs and big black oversized pickup trucks to see who can break the most road and vehicle inspection laws in one single drive. And this car, I think, is winning the game. It's the Nissan Altima. Yep, you finally have a name to pin on that one car with trash bags for windows that cuts off you and everybody else in traffic. That one car who blocked the one major highway in your state that afternoon because it caught fire and mysteriously exploded when it was being driven. Every single picture and video I showed you featured a Nissan Altima. I'm not even joking. Even the one on fire with a completely oblivious driver just driving down the interstate until it explodes, and then the driver has to do a judo roll and just let the still flaming Nissan Altima just travel itself down the hill on a patch of grass, still on fire, until it inevitably comes to a resting stop in a parking lot where it crashes into a parked car and then crashes into another parked car when it rolls down the parking lot. I think the Nissan Altima's top speed only tops at around 200 kilometers an hour. And boy, do Nissan Altima drivers use every single one of those 200 kilometers. Highway driving, 60k speed limit through town, 25k speed limit through construction zone. Doesn't matter to Nissan Altima drivers. Their car has an engine and it has a pedal, which makes the car go faster, which means they can haul their asses all the way to the woolies faster than if they're doing the speed limit, and they can get back home in a quicker time if they go faster. And what? Speed limits? Road laws? Vehicle inspection laws? These things, to Nissan Altima drivers, just don't exist. Laws are only arbitrary guidelines that those unawake and unaware that gay Jewish reptiles who live on the moon and shoot laser beams from their nipples impose on the human slaves they've hypnotized, so they don't use gasoline-powered cars to their full potentials and allow them to take over the world. The police, vehicle inspectors, and debt collectors are always surveilling and spying on Nissan Altima drivers in secret, and are always secretly colluding with each other to stop Nissan Altima drivers from tailgating and crashing into parked cars at the petrol station in peace. That rusted out body panel? Who cares? It's only rust. It's still staying on the car. Fixing costs way too much money anyway. Those gigantic white clouds of smoke pouring out of the radiator? Who cares? The car's still running. Nissan Altima drivers can still make the car move forward. Why bother fixing it? There's a name for this insane, deranged, dangerous, and certainly unique behaviour that all Nissan Altima drivers just radiate. It's called Big Altima Energy. If your standard drive through your neighbourhood consists of you flooring the pedal, not lifting it through corners, and crashing into every single bollard and power pole and driving away as if nothing ever happened, you have Big Altima Energy. If you don't even look at the front windshield of a car and just keep your eyes and ears glued to the phone, being more engrossed in the latest episode of Tucker Carlson or RuPaul's Drag Race, before you hit a bollard or a power pole, reverse and drive away as if nothing ever happened, that is Big Altima Energy. Car upside down in a Bunnings parking lot, scraping the paint off the sides of both cars beside you and the back of the one car in front of you as you try to park, and fail, and you reverse out and back your bumper into a bollard, and then just drive off it as if nothing ever happened, and then just give up and leave your car in the middle of the parking lane? What about when your car gets towed away because you failed yet again to put down a payment on the 15th credit card you've maxed out this month alone? But since you believe you can't be repoed if they can't catch you, If you drive off while your car is still literally on the back of a tow truck, fly right off the tow truck, just Dukes of Hazzard right over the top of it, come crashing down, snap your suspension and your chassis in half, and then end up hitting another Altima on the way down anyway, before you drive off with your car in half and on fire as you hit another bollard and drive off as if nothing ever happened. 3 words: big Altima energy. For causing total destruction with every corner you take, or try and fail to take, with just complete nonchalance and total cool, to achieve such impressively destructive results, while being completely oblivious. To even come close to doing that, you need big Altima energy. But why just Nissan Altimas? Of all the angry mums driving white SUVs, and the angry dads in big black pickup trucks, why have Nissan Altimas become the official cars of horrible drivers? There's a good reason for that. A good, solid, logical reason. The first part of the equation that it is equal to big Altima energy is Nissan financing. You see, unlike all the other major Japanese car brands, maybe save for Mitsubishi, Nissan hasn't been doing too well. Sure, they've made the Skyline and they made the GTR, but even during the Skyline's heyday of the R34 days, or more so the Fast and Furious days, Nissan was facing just total bankruptcy. And it got so bad that Nissan had to form some kind of alliance with Renault in 1999. Yes, that Renault. Like right as the R34 was just about to come out, Nissan were pretty much out of money. So of course, to keep the Skyline customers loyal to their brand, and of course to be able to fund the research, development and manufacturing of a Nissan GTR, Nissan had to cut some costs somewhere. And while no corners were certainly cut during the making of a Nissan GTR, a lot of corners were cut in their regular production cars. Of course, aside from the Skyline and the GTR, Nissans in like the 90s to 2000s and even till today are total crap. They consistently rank at the bottom with customer satisfaction and vehicle reliability in reviews. Just It's not going well for Nissan lately. But of course, you can't turn a profit if you don't have any sales. So how does Nissan sell their cars? Through financing, of course, forcing customers to sign dodgy contracts or dodgy leases, so Nissan can sell both a lot of cars and get a shit ton of money from people who miss their payments. The unique thing about Nissan financing compared to any other car manufacturers financing and leases and stuff like that, and car loans, that sort of thing, Nissan will finance anyone, and anyone includes anyone, no matter how shitty their credit is, if they even have any credit in the first place, really. So for dear old Morgan, who has had her car repoed twice, has never paid any bills, and consistently goes out of her way to seek out every possible bad line of credit and never pay it off, no car dealer is willing to finance her. Except for Nissan. That homeless guy on the main street who shits in a Pringles can, he can get financed by Nissan. A chicken nugget? Nissan dealers will somehow find a way to convince that chicken nugget to sign a car loan. Nissan may not be able to break even on every single little Altima that they lease out to total junkies, but they'll get something back. A $1 return is better than $0 return. That's the first reason. But why Altimas? Why not any other Nissan car? Every other Nissan car does come into factor here, but it's a reason why Altimas have that big Altima energy. Because they were all ex-rental cars. The same cars that get used by hundreds and thousands of people per car, and often rack up 300,000 kilometers before they're eventually retired. Well, the rental dealers want to get rid of a car before it inevitably breaks, so they just give it to an auction. Those cars usually end up in Nissan dealers, specifically to be sold to people with bad credit. And for every cheese wheel that rolls into a Nissan shop with a credit rating of 2, they've got 10 Nissan Altima X rentals just waiting out the back, ready to be financed. And often these old X rental cars picked up by people with bad credits and just horrible money spending habits usually end up wrecking the cars because they don't really give a shit about them. I mean, most of their money goes towards drugs anyway. Nissan Altimas are usually the only cars they can get. Maybe outside of a used Dodge Journey or something like that. But these cars usually are given to people with horrible credit ratings, get smashed up because they can't afford, any basic repairs. And they care more about their next Coke fix than, getting their car running again. So every time a Nissan Altima driver crashes into a bollard or into a parked car and the bumper comes off, well, any repairs on the car will be cut into their meth budget for the month. And besides, bumpers are usually just solid pieces of plastic anyway, so just steal a plastic chair and glue that to the front. A solid piece of plastic as a substitute for another solid piece of plastic. It works.